Hello everyone and welcome to another box office breakdown. In a summer where it feels like each and every week that I've done these, there's been a huge storyline, this weekend seems like it's a little bit more low-key. But there are still some important things to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is the performance of Thor Love and Thunder in its second weekend. Now, on the bright side, Thor Love and Thunder is about to surpass $500 million worldwide. So this means that the movie is very likely profitable at this point, which is great that it's hit that point in its second weekend. I think that this is the kind of movie that's going to get people to keep coming back throughout the rest of the summer. It's a very lighthearted, fun film, which should bode well for it in the future box office. However, on the flip side, it dropped 68% weekend over weekend. Now, granted, whenever you have a movie come out and make over $140 million opening weekend, it's gonna have a steep drop-off. However, I can't help but compare this to the performance of Top Gun Maverick, which came out and only dropped like 30 or 20% in its second weekend. So why did Thor Love and Thunder drop so much? I think it has a lot to do with the divisive nature of the movie. Yes, it's a very lighthearted film, but it seems like people are more mixed on it than a typical Marvel film. Some would say that it was a little bit too lighthearted, and so it kind of took away from some of the more serious themes in the film. I personally enjoyed it. Is it a perfect movie? No. Is it as good as Thor Ragnarok? In my opinion, no. But it's still a quality movie to go see with your friends. Now, Thor Ragnarok ended up making $830 million, I believe, worldwide. I don't think at this point Love and Thunder is going to hit that. Because while I think it is going to continue making a decent amount of money throughout the rest of the summer, if it keeps dropping down by this percentage each and every weekend, then I think it's lucky to hit even $700 million. Which I would say is probably a little disappointing for Marvel, given that Thor is one of their original heroes and one of their biggest box office draws, or who should be one of their biggest box office draws. However, I don't think this is going to impact the likelihood of us getting a fifth Thor movie, especially given the tease that we got at the end of Love and Thunder. And apparently Chris Hemsworth loves playing Thor. He has stated on the record that he wants to come back and play the character as many times as Marvel will let him. I do think this will impact the tone of future Thor movies pushing forward, though, because Thor Ragnarok had the right balance of serious emotional moments, jam-packed action, and then also a whole lot of comedy. And while Love and Thunder did have those elements in there, sometimes, for me at least, it felt like the comedic tones undercut some of the more serious moments. But that's just me. I think this movie still has moments that hit, just not on the same level as Thor Ragnarok did. But still, making over $500 million worldwide is a major milestone, and I'll be curious to see what the drop-off is next week in its third weekend. But I do have a bit more bad news, as the new releases came out this weekend, and both of them did not do well. The first one is one that I'm pretty bummed about, and that is Where the Crawdads Sing. I'm actually a fan of the book Where the Crawdads Sing, and I was looking forward to seeing what a movie adaptation would look like. Now, I was a bit skeptical of it after I saw the trailers, because in my opinion, everyone in it looked a little bit too pretty, if you know what I mean. If you've read the book, hopefully you know what I mean by that, in that the main character is supposed to be someone that kind of lives in solitude in the Carolina marsh, you know, kind of grimy, kind of dirty, not supposed to be a pretty face, or at least that's not how I envisioned her. But everyone in the movie, whenever I saw the trailers, just kind of looked a little too CW, a little too pretty for the story that at least I pictured. But you know what? Art is subjective, and I'm always going to be open to whatever a filmmaker wants to do with a story. However, Where the Crawdads Sing came out, and it did not do well critically. I think right now it's sitting at a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, and while the audience score is a lot higher than that, it doesn't seem like there were that many audience members to begin with. This movie came out and it made $17 million in its opening weekend. Now, granted, the people that financed this movie were smart and they only made it for like $30 million, so I think at the end of the day, they are going to make their money back. They probably only need to make between like 40 and 50 million for this movie to turn a profit. That's, of course, whenever you include the marketing budget on top of that, just production budget. But still, this was a huge book. You would imagine that during the summer, a lot more people would flock to the theaters to come see it. So for this to come out and only make $17 million in its opening weekend in a summer where there have been a ton of hits. I mean, heck, The Black Phone has made over $100 million. This is not good for this movie. And it's a real bummer for me too. I really enjoyed the book, so I wanted to see this movie come out, be good, make its money, but unfortunately that doesn't appear to be the case. However, that movie's numbers make it look like Avatar whenever you compare it to the other new release that came out this week. I think it's called Paws of Fury. Yeah, it's called Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. And the trailers for this came out, and I'll be honest, I thought it looked like crap. And apparently a lot of other people did too, because it only made $6 million this weekend. This is an animated movie coming out in the summer, making $6 million. And that is on a budget of $40 million. $40 million, and it made $6 million in its opening weekend. This thing is a disaster. And I think it's a testament for how important marketing can really be for a movie. Whenever I saw this trailer play in a movie theater, I never once said to myself, oh, that's something that I might want to go see. The animation didn't look good. The trailer was not cut very well. It just didn't look like a good movie. And I don't mean to come on here and bash a movie. I'm sure everybody worked very hard on it. But the marketing for this was not good. Any animated movie should be able to come out in the summer and make a decent amount of money, even if it's not good. I hate to compare it to the other two animated movies that have come out this summer, but Lightyear, I mean, yeah, it's a flop, but it still made over $200 million. And then Minions 2, I mean, this weekend, in its third weekend, it made $26 million. It's made over $500 million so far. So for this movie to come out and not even crack $10 million in its opening weekend is horrible. And you know what? Occasionally a movie comes out and flops so hard that you start seeing it being taken out of theaters after like its second weekend, and I'm predicting that that is going to be the case for this movie as well. I'm not going to bash the movie for what it is because I haven't gone out and seen it, but you know what? Neither have a lot of other people. Maybe whenever it hits Paramount Plus, I watch it on a night where I have nothing else better to do, but for the time being, it is an absolute disaster, unfortunately. And I hate sitting here and talking about a movie that doesn't do well because I want all movies to come out and do the best that they possibly can. Because you know what? That's what's best for the theater industry. In order to keep the theaters alive, we have to get good content inside them to get people to go. And in order to get people to go, you have to convince them to go via marketing. And unfortunately, the marketing just wasn't there for this film. It does look like it's getting some mixed reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not a total crap fest. I think it's sitting somewhere in the 50s on Rotten Tomatoes. So critics are divisive on this one. But still, this is a massive financial hit for Paramount. But anyway, that's enough negativity. I want to talk about some good things. I mentioned it before, the Black Phone has made over $100 million worldwide, so that's fantastic. I went ahead and I saw that movie and I really enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Top Gun Maverick and Elvis are still making their money, so good for those films. But yeah, for the most part, this was a pretty calm weekend at the box office. This isn't the lowest grossing weekend of the summer so far, but I will say it's probably the most boring, because whenever you go back to the lowest grossing weekend of the summer, you still had the storyline of Top Gun Maverick only dropping like 30% in its second weekend. So that was still a huge weekend to talk about. But yeah, hopefully this is the most boring weekend we have this summer. I'm definitely looking forward to this upcoming weekend with Nope coming out, the new Jordan Peele movie. I'm planning on catching that on Thursday night. I might make a review about it. I'm not too sure. I'm going to be pretty busy on Friday, but if I have time, I will. And then also, it doesn't have anything to do with the box office, but The Gray Man comes out on Netflix, the new Russo brothers movie starring Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. And I'm pretty excited about that. It's gotten pretty mixed reviews so far, but I'm going to go in with an open mind. And I'm on a Russo brothers heater right now because the next video that I have is number 85, Captain America Civil War, which I'm in the process of editing right now. That should be posted sometime tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, depending on how long it takes. Those videos notoriously take longer to edit because of all the clips in them, but I'm going to do my best. That is 100% going to go out here in the next couple of days. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the video up to this point. If you like what you saw here, go ahead and subscribe for more. Leave me a like, and I'll see you next time.